other news, and a recent Chhattisgarh High Court ruling that held a husband cannot be prosecuted for rape or unnatural sex with his wife, including unnatural acts, even without her consent, even though it led to her death, has now sparked outrage and reignited the debate on marital rape. The bench was hearing a case involving a woman who died in hospital after unnatural sex with her husband. The victim's husband was convicted by a trial court but was then acquitted by the Chhattisgarh High Court. Remember, marital rape is not yet punishable by law, as the centre maintains that the protection of the institution of marriage is essential. There are petitions, however, in the courts. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by Brinda Adige, women rights activist, and this has been a very shocking case that this person has been let go at the High Court level because the law does not find him guilty of marital rape, even though the wife died due to this unnatural sex that he indulged with.
You're absolutely right. And in this age and time, recently we've had the BNS, and even the BNS did not see it fit that it should have this clause over there, which was probably missing in the other IPC, knowing fully well that this is a crime. Marital rape may not be accepted by conventional thinking or so-called traditional thinking that to save the marriage, we must not have this put down as a crime and where it can be punished. But you're looking at a particular case where the woman has died. Now, will you just consider it as marital rape and not murder? Through insertion of an object, because it was done by a husband, that is not considered a crime. Now, if this is not feudal, middle age, dark ages, what else is it? We call ourselves mother of democracies, but you have judges who are supposedly learned people who have discretionary power to actually call on to make a statement somewhere when a lower court has convicted that fellow. What stops the higher court not to go forward and uphold it? Why would you sit on the letter of a law and forget that a citizen, a woman, has been killed, murdered as a result of the perversion of the husband? If these are questions we cannot ask.
But by the law, if one goes to that, is it that the judge's hand is tied because our law does not recognize marital rape, and this is where we need Parliament to act on this issue?
Parliament absolutely has to act, and that is why I raised the issue when the BNS was formulated. There could have been a special clause that could have been put into BNS because this was not thought of earlier, and the British prudish understanding did not want to address these things, so we didn't have it in the IPC. But we surely could have put a clause in BNS, and like you mentioned, there are a lot of organizations, including AIBA, Karunanandi's team, that has filed a petition in court. But I again come back to, a person is dead. There is a reason why that person has died. It is a brutal reason. Isn't there any punishment that you would want to mete out, any penal action? Are our laws so terribly low that there is nothing you can do to punish that person, and you're saying as there is no law, he is acquitted? So he can go and do the same thing to somebody else, marry them and do it. Isn't that a message which is very wrong going out to the society? That if you are married and you can get into any kind of perverse sexual actions, you will not be punished. We are already struggling almost on a daily basis, where we have just about one third of the cases that get reported to court, especially of sexual harassment, rape, and sexual assault.
Right.
And even those do not see a logical conclusion where there is any swift or certain punishment. In this stage and time, when we are handling this kind of a crisis, what stops the judge to make a mention that, okay, here, under these clause, because supposedly learned judge, to say that under this, I will uphold the conviction, I will uphold that punishment. It is not enough because a woman has died.
Right.
But
and directly because of this, unnatural sex act that the husband, indulged in. And, Brinda Adige, at a time when there's so much energy being spent on, certain crude remarks that were made on a YouTube show, it's been raised in Parliament, you've got MPs speaking about it. One really hopes that this issue as well gets the same sort of attention, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is even more serious. There it was speech and
Absolutely.
it was vulgar. But here a woman, a citizen has died. And a citizen died in such a brutal manner. And this man has done it with such impunity. Probably he also knows the law and said that, don't worry, I will not get caught. And the courts have upheld it. Now, I would like to hold that judge accountable, because a precedent of this kind, when it is set, the message that is going is absolutely perverse and depravity. This is what we call depravity, where, okay, I can marry somebody and do all of these things, and no law is going to punish me in my country, where we talk of a constitution that guarantees protection and safety, where we are talking of hundreds of schemes and laws for protection of children and women, protection of women from sexual abuse and assault. And you have over here one loose clause: there is no law in letter to tie him. So my hands are tied as a judge. You have powers, you have certain authority. You are not so terrible that you're just a government servant over there who has to listen to some senior officer and not do anything. You pass
Right.
a judgment, and you could have used your discretionary power to bring in and uphold the judgment made by a lower court. And that, I think, we must hold the people responsible. Government servants have no right just to blame the law and not take onus and responsibility for for bringing a culprit to book.
All right. Thank you so much, Brinda Adige, for joining us. And this horrific case, a very shocking case, has once again ignited that debate around the marital rape and the fact that we still don't have a law that recognizes that, after a Chhattisgarh High Court let off a man whose unnatural sex act directly caused the death of his wife. He was not held responsible.